Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Craig, Petey, and Danielle. How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday?
I'm good. We had a spirited debate with the Suns crew before the show started, so I'm primed. I'm ready to go.
You're ready?
I'm ready to
You're locked
debate.
in?
Yeah, I'm not. I thought it was January.
Petey
And I
goes,
thought it was Friday.
Saying June and July. Was that yesterday?
yes, yesterday he thought it was June and July.
And today I
Today.
said January, and I also said it was Friday today.
So I said to Petey, it's Friday, January 2nd.
Yep.
That's what he thinks.
And I'm going with it. And that's what I'm going with. It's an OG's
You know
day.
what's great about that day?
What?
The Coyotes are still in a playoff spot.
That's true.
Oh, Craig.
It's true.
Didn't have to go there.
Just saying.
Well, it's not January 2nd. It's April 2nd. And there are just 8 games remaining, just over 2 weeks left in the Coyotes regular season. What? I can't believe we're actually here. It was Coyotes Picture Day.
It was Picture Day today. Exciting day. I will say this, because I'm on the other side of the curtain. I have been in a few of those photos. And I will say this. The amount of people in that photo has doubled.
That was massive today.
That was a massive photo. They had to bring it. I told the equipment manager today that ultimately they're going to have to get 2 rinks to fit everybody in. They're going to have to open the door. And there's a lot of people there. I'd say put up the photo, but we don't have one because it's not our photo. But there are a lot of people.
Yeah, I was just disappointed with the backdrop because I thought if they had gone to one end of the ice, you could have seen a particular
picture.
ad on the boards.
Why
Just
didn't they
saying.
show our picture? We're still waiting for people to go to the ice inn and take the picture of our picture at the ice inn and tweet it. We got to register people
So
to win
by people,
something.
you mean these people that
Well,
are watching
they're
right
the
now?
only people. Yeah.
Okay.
But they need to go to the ice inn and get a picture of us and then tweet it, and then we need to come up with a prize.
Yep.
We do.
Yep.
We do
I like
that?
it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll think
So
of a
you
prize.
mean like creative tweets? They have to come up with a creative tweet
Yes.
and we'll award the best one?
Yep. So what happens on picture days, everybody wears, the players wear jerseys.
Yep.
The staff, a lot of the staff, the off-ice staff wears nice sweatsuits that match the jerseys. And then the executives wear suits and ties. And they were all very matching suits and ties.
Mhm.
And we took a picture of a friend of the program today, Javier Gutierrez, and we showed the CEO, and we got to see what he wore as his suit and tie.
Shoes.
And his shoes were elite today. We always talk about Javier's shoe game. Those were shiny shoes.
And they matched his tie exactly.
Yeah.
The red
I
shoes.
keep wanting
the
to
red
do that
tie.
story, by the way.
Those were
I know he's got
fancy.
kind of more important things to worry about right now than
But does he
the
then his
story on
fashion?
shoe collection.
His shoe
which
game was.
is driven by his son Javi, by the way.
I will say,
they are
Craig
unreal.
used the word. Did
Fire.
you say Craig used the word fire to describe it to his face? He said that's fire, and I laughed to myself.
Those
'Cause
are pretty sweet.
And you
shoes.
said slaps
I
earlier.
said slaps, but I did say slaps. So anyway, it was a picture day there. A couple guys stayed and skated,
I
but
can't believe you never did anything weird for picture day.
No, I never
was
did.
asking, we were going to do a bit on this, and Peter's like, nope,
Nope.
never did anything weird.
they never did anything weird.
Okay.
It was just everybody just wanted to get it done. Like coaches hate picture day.
What
Hate
about
it.
for like yearbook picture, school picture? You never did
No.
anything funny? You? No? Just
No.
always, see, wholesome. She's so wholesome.
I was a rule follower, Craig. Always a rule follower.
We put black tape over our teeth for one of our team photos.
Didn't do that.
That's
Well, I mean, we
good.
had pictures that were fun pictures. Like we took one all around the Zamboni of the hockey team. We
Well, that's good.
sat on the Zamboni. We sat in
That's
the
good.
seat. Actually, the Zamboni driver was actually in the picture. That was fun.
Have you driven one?
Yeah, I got as soon as I got my license the next
Yeah.
day. I drove it
Pretty
all
cool.
summer.
Pretty
Hockey
cool
school.
experience, actually.
Until the first time I did it in front of a crowd on a Saturday game
Oh,
of
God.
tournaments. I
Thinking a
drove
little
into
bit?
the boards. I drove into the boards and I knocked these ladies. Yeah, because when you're driving the Zamboni, you think everybody's watching you, even though nobody is, because nobody gives a shit. They're not watching you. They don't care. And I was 16, and there was these 2 ladies, and they had their coffee on the things, and I just panicked. I swear to God, I just panicked.
Slammed into the
Boom,
board.
right into them. Knocked their coffee off. Swear to God, it's absolute true
But the
story.
board stood.
Yeah, terrified.
All right, so you're good.
Terrified.
Didn't do any
But
damage.
then when you get to be 18 and you're driving it, we used to drive it after we played at the rink my dad used to have at Bemidji State. We could stay as long as we wanted because we drove the Zamboni as long as we cleaned the ice when we left. Don't let a bunch of 18-year-olds have free reign of a hockey rink with nobody in it with a Zamboni.
Yeah.
Because we would just have contests to see who could spin it around more times at center ice. Anyway,
I just need to pitch on that subject, Zamboni jousting. I really think there's something there.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
I really think there's something there.
I'm not doing it.
All right.
Is that it for today?
Pretty easy too, because you could use that whole level surface to just come right at the person, right?
Yeah. I love it.
There's no way you're missing.
All right.
And why can I? We're there. It's Friday.
Yeah.
It's Friday, January 2nd.
So why have there been no major adjustments to the design of a Zamboni since the 1800s?
They perfected it.
It's the same thing. It's the blade with a wet towel in the back, putting down hot water. The auger brings it up to the bin, and you dump it out of the bin. That's the best. That's it.
I guess. I mean, but listen, not all people.
Better.
Zamboni is it's
a brand.
It's a brand.
Yeah.
So there's actually
it's an ice surface.
There's Olympias as well,
right?
An ice
resurfacing machine.
That's right. You seen the one at UBS and for the Islanders?
No.
It's got a 6-pack on top. It's
I don't
pretty cool
pay
to see from
attention.
the press box. Yeah, it's like watching.
Buddha said I watched the Zamboni. You're the one who kept us on the subject. Okay, let's get into what we're really going to talk about today, which is that with 8 games remaining, we have come up with 8 things we want to see in these final games of the season. But first things first, before we get into our 8 things, yesterday at practice, we talked to Coach Andre Tourigny, especially with the Coyotes out of a playoff spot at this point. They're not playing for playoffs. So what are they playing for? What's their outlook?
Draft position.
Well,
sorry.
Well, they're not, but Bill Armstrong is. We asked Andre Tourigny what his outlook for the Coyotes is with these final 8 games to go. So here's what he had to say.
For us, the team focus did not change for weeks. You asked me that before, and I answered that question before. It won't change. It will be the same. It's for us. It's managing the game better, making sure we stay outside of the box, making sure we have good change, short shift, all those puck management thing where, example, we shoot ourselves in the foot at the start of the second period last game of turning the puck over twice in the breakout and end up being a 2-minute shift in our zone and they scored. That is the kind of thing we're talking about. A few situations where in the game we extend shifts and those we paid dearly for those. So those kind of thing, our start of the game, everything where we put in the game or the game management, those are the stuff for daily conversation in our room. And, you can, if you want, you can call it a different way. We need to get more mature. And when you have the second youngest team in the league, it's the growth is, you cannot, we try to speed it up, but in life, you need to go through those things. So that's what we're going through. But in order to speed it up, we need to learn from it. So it's not by not talking about it. It's not by not teaching from it. It's not by looking our mistake right in the eyes. Then we will learn. We need to look at them and say, okay, that's where we did wrong and get better. And I think we're progressing without being perfect, but without being where we want to be. But I think we're progressing.
You know what I love about this is he's a coach, and it was all about like today. What are we going to do today? When I threw this question out to Petey and Leah, like Petey came back with a laundry list of things, and it's exactly what you'd expect to see from a coach. Here's details we want to see in the game today over the next 8 games. We're going to look a little big picture. We included some of those, but though it just shows you the focus that you need as a coach to just be. You can't worry about down the line. You just got to zero in on what's happening today.
Yeah.
Every day get a little better. They always say get 1% better each day.
And they can't worry about in the coach's room or on the ice. They can't worry about the draft or the draft position or next training camp or development camp or next year or the arena. They can't. And realistically, what's hard these last 8 games is the mindset of you've got Vegas coming up, you've got Vancouver coming up, teams that are clearly going to be playoff teams, and you're not. And it's hard to match the intensity of the teams you're going to play against. And it's difficult. You're literally counting down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Vancouver's not counting down. they're counting down to the playoffs. So it's a different mindset. It's hard to come to the rink every day and motivate the players and get the players to buy in and the players to have a 60-minute effort. The coach's job this last stretch is really, really difficult. It's because we've all been to, your senior year of school, and it's nice outside and you have a few days left and you're just watching the clock.
Already into college.
Yeah, you're just watching the clock. And that's where these
true.
players are. And it's trying to get them focused for these last 8 games. It's a challenge.
It definitely is. Well, let's talk about the things that we would like to see beyond Bear, although I'm sure he'd like to see these as well. And the first thing we would like to see is the top line defending, because right now, Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz are heavy in the minus category. We've talked a lot about plus minus and its value as a statistic, but I think there becomes a point in the minus where it becomes so dramatic that you have to acknowledge it. And I don't think,
it's an interesting argument.
Yeah. And I don't think that Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz have had quite the plus minus that they'd want to see. Clayton Keller currently a minus 21, Schmaltz minus 17. So can they improve upon their minus to at least get closer to 0 and defend? One
of the things, Leah, I don't want to go back to this, is what's interesting to me is if you take this year's Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz and compare them to last year's Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz, the points are very close. Like Schmaltz is 56 to 58, very, very comparable. And Keller's within 10 points of where he was a year ago too. So the offense is there. So you can't say they're not scoring goals. They're scoring at a similar place, but the plus minus is horrifically different. And you go to last year, Nick Schmaltz was the second highest forward in plus minus rating. He was a +4. Only forward better than him last year was Nick Bjugstad. And we talk about Nick Bjugstad, what a defensive player he is and how good he is in the defensive zone. Nick Schmaltz was second. Yeah. And Clayton Keller was only a couple -4, which is at the time wasn't bad. And their points are similar. But this year, those two players, they're 1 and 2. They're 1 and 2 in the plus minus. And I know we've talked about
the worst.
Yeah, the worst. Yeah. Minus 21 and minus 17, the two worst, including all defensemen. Best, by the way. And you talk about defensemen, and defensemen, you're going to see a defenseman in there, and Dermott's the lowest defense at minus 14. And I know plus minus isn't an end-all be-all stat. I know there are times that Keller probably just jumped over the boards and they score and he had nothing to do with the play. I absolutely agree with that. But when we talk about plus minus and the outliers, when they are extreme, it makes a difference. So what that tells me, if these two players are on the same points pace as they were a season ago, but their plus minus is egregiously different, it's a concern. And I think that you really want to see those guys. They need to produce offense. They're driving the bus offensively, but if Clayton Keller gets 3 points and he's -2, what does that do for your team? They've got to be able to defend because you got to be able to put those players out in every situation. And I think it's something they need to really buckle down and improve on this year because I talk about habits. 8 games to go, they need to defend better, period. And what happens with 8 games to go when they're not in the playoff spot and they don't matter, these games don't matter, it's really easy to forget the defensive side and just focus on the offensive side. So it's imperative that your top offensive players put an onus on defending.
I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, great point. Well said. All right, well, let's move on to the next thing we would like to see, something that, I think we want to see all season, but especially through these last 8 games, is goaltending consistency and just see what the Coyotes have in Karel Vejmelka and Connor Ingram. We saw the goalie rotation to start the year. Ingram got hot. They kind of went with him for a while. They're back to that every other game. And we've seen in this stretch, even going back to the every other game thing, we've seen some really good games from Connor Ingram. We've seen some really good games from Karel Vejmelka. And then we've seen some mixed games.
Yeah, I would still say that Connor Ingram's fallen off a bit. He's certainly not as hot as when we were talking about him in the Vezina Trophy race or as an all-star, something like that. I want to know what they have in these two guys, right? And I think there may be enough of a book on Karel Vejmelka where you probably know what he is at this point in his career. As you mentioned on a previous show, his stats are pretty consistent. Yep. He is who he is. He's got 1 more year left on his contract. He's 27 years old, be a UFA. Is he a piece that you want to keep around? Can he show some improvement? And you're not going to show it over the final 8 games, but it's a start, and he's going to need to show something soon for them to decide this is a guy we want around for the long term because Connor Ingram signed for an extra year. Connor Ingram showed something this season, an elite level that we haven't seen around here in a little while. he might be the piece that they choose to keep instead. But both of these guys, I still think, have a lot to prove in their games because there's just been too much inconsistency over the course of this season.
Yeah, when you look at Ingram too, when you talk about consistency, of the two goaltenders, the one that has had a better streak and played better at times this year is clearly Connor Ingram. There were points in this season where we've said Connor Ingram was elite, that Connor Ingram was an all-star, that Connor Ingram is still tied for the lead in shutouts. And so I think his ceiling has been better, but he's also had games where he's really struggled.
Yep.
And so for me personally, if Connor Ingram's going to be the guy, and he's young enough that he can be here for several years, I want to see that consistent game. And I think you want to have the best of the Connor Ingram. I get that. But even if you have just a consistent Connor Ingram that you know what you're going to get every time he starts, we're going to get this. Baseline, we're going to get this. I think they'd be thrilled with that. And you need that if you're going to use Karel Vejmelka as a bargaining chip comes next trade deadline, which could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you find that Connor Ingram's this and he's steady and he's baseline really, really good goaltender, I think that makes Karel Vejmelka expendable at the trade deadline next year when he is a UFA. If not, we'll see if they extend his contract as well.
Yeah, because when you look down the road at all the prospects that we've talked about recently, nobody's close. It's not like somebody's stepping through the door next year or even the season after that. I know people are looking at like Robble and some of these other guys like, oh, they could be here. No, that's just
the timeline is so long
yeah.
for goalies, Craig. Like the development, and coming out of college, even when they get here, it's another 3, 4, 5 years for these guys where they're ready to be starters. And even though you look at teams that had a guy that's younger, and Devin Levi in Buffalo, well, he's our guy.
Nope.
2 weeks into the season, you're like, ooh, maybe he's not our guy.
Yeah.
Like it just takes longer for goalies to develop. It's a harder position. I think the Coyotes cupboards are full, but that's 4 or 5 years down the road. It's not now. Yep. So they need to extend these guys and their lives and bridge the gap between now and the end of this rebuild. They've got to bridge the gap somehow. And they need to start with, you're right, they need to evaluate what they have, and that starts with consistent play on the back end.
One thing I'll add too is I think we've seen a cool, like a great ceiling for Connor Ingram. His potential is there now. It's just about proving the consistency. It'll be really interesting to see going into next season, especially considering how they played the goaltender situation this season. But we'll be, with them rotating games to end the year, be interesting to see who kind of comes out on the end with maybe you'll get back to that point where one guy is consistently better. And then sometimes it's just, I don't know.
Nobody's jumped. Nobody's grabbed that mantle, though.
No.
They really both had opportunities to do that this season.
Yeah, they have.
They've both been given a long leash at different times that you're going to be the guy.
Yep. All right. Well, we are all in all black today here on the set. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Petey's rocking his PHNX gray flag. Love that one. I'm wearing my Southwest Bias shirts. You can't underneath this. But you can get all of these. What are you rocking under there? Oh, the PHNX letter sheet. Look at us. We are decked out. You can get all this
Craig.
right now. PHNXlocker.com.
No, wait.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, I thought you finished.
And if you are a diehard, you get 20% off all of our merch, 20% off on events as well, and a free shirt or hat when you sign up. So you can grab that shirt. You can grab a Coyotes-specific shirt, or if you're fans of other teams as well, especially, with the D-back season just getting underway, maybe you want to get one of those new awesome shirts, the Defend the Pool, there's another great shirt that I love. So check out phnxlocker.com. Again, become a diehard over at gophnx.com/diehard. Get access to our Discord and access to diehard only content such as Craig's mailbag from over the weekend, prospect reports as well. And we also do a ton of interactive stuff with diehards, diehard intermission reports, etc. So many great reasons to become a diehard today. Go phnx.com/diehard. And we are in peak sports season. March Madness, men's and women's. Great game last night with the LSU and Iowa. We have the Final Four coming up this weekend here in Arizona. NHL, NBA, MLB, it's all happening. And what better time to bet on all of those games? Petey, I know you've been in on the March Madness. You're always in on the anytime goal scorers. And of course, that's always over at BetMGM. So if you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use the bonus code PHNX when you sign up. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app for at least $10, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if the bet loses. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Bonus bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
And sports are not the same without a Four Peaks in hand. Four Peaks, the official beer of PHNX. And Leah mentioned it, the Final Four is in Cleveland, and the Final Four is in Phoenix. So you need to, what do you need with the Final Four?
Four Peaks.
4 Peaks.
Wow.
So, wow. And she just said it, wow.
Wow.
So I watched the LSU-Iowa game last night with several wows in hand.
I'm sure.
Several. And we started early because the
I'm a little
game started
hazy
at
on
4.
what you're saying.
A little hazy on what I'm saying. I lifted some kilts later, too.
This is
That's a
getting bad.
whole nother story. Sorry. So grab yourself some Four Peaks and watch sports. Sports are better with a Four Peaks in hand. And try their new Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale, the collaboration between Four Peaks and Bad Birdie. Super drinkable and the perfect companion at the tee box or in your fridge. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all of your favorite beers and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks. Please enjoy responsibly. Does somebody make popcorn?
Yes.
That's bullshit.
Somebody
Yeah,
made
been off
popcorn
wrestling.
and we
Seriously?
were smelling it. Oh, is it Michaela? Did you spill butter all over the kitchen
Just
while
woke
you were
up-
at it?
She literally just woke up from her nap. Michaela's napping on the couch. She literally moved her desk to a couch.
Yeah.
With a, she's got a, like, I swear, comforter, pillow, and now popcorn. She wears pajamas. She doesn't show up, literally doesn't show up till noon,
Oh my
and then it's right back to nap time.
And if anybody,
Petey is
if
Shows
anybody
up at
wants to
noon.
know, why Bo Brack walks with a limp right now, Bo Brock, excuse me,
Why?
we can tell you that story too.
There's a lawsuit.
It was rough. It was
The
a,
Eagle.
It was a tough day at PHNX. Yeah.
The Eagle. I did see
Michaela's gonna
the
sue
lawyer was
Petey.
inspecting the floor. I saw that. Butter. It was butter.
Oh, there's a lot of drama here sometimes, usually involving snacks somehow. All right,
DNA samples.
let's move on to our 8 questions, and we'll
it does
get
smell really
to
good,
our.
though.
It does smell amazing. Our the third thing we want to see the team do in these final 8 games, and that's team speed. Play fast, Petey. What do you mean by this?
Wait, and I think that's something we've seen over the last few games at Mullet Arena, and we saw it a season ago when this team played at home, their ability to get on pucks and on their opponents quickly in the first period by using their team speed. And now with the recall of Josh Doan, we've seen the pace of Dylan Guenther. Logan Cooley has become a faster player. I think this team plays its best when they play fast, and what can happen when your last 8 games don't matter, it's hard to get that energy and that motivation to get your feet moving. It's easier to sit back and just coast and get through these games. So I think one of the things the coaches have to do, they have to motivate their players to continue to play fast from the second the puck drops, because this is the way this team needs to play. That's the way they're built. They need to play fast.
It's the game today too. It's the game, right?
Yep.
You got to play with pace. It's crazy that we're talking about Josh Doan playing with pace now.
I know,
too, and
but Josh Doan and Dylan Guenther.
Guenther. I still can't get used to
Dylan,
it.
when Dylan Guenther gets the puck, it's like,
But Dylan Guenther's a guy a year ago that he couldn't keep up with the pace, and the only time Dylan Guenther looked like an NHL player was on the power play.
Yeah,
because he had room and time and space. He's not that player anymore. Like he's by the way, he's on the verge of 21, and he's matured as a player on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's roll right into our next
Sure.
point, because it's related, which is the development of the youth. And again, it's 8 games, so you can only do so much in that time. But we've already seen a huge progression from Logan Cooley since the start of the year, from obviously Dylan Guenther since he got here, and Josh Doan in just the 3 games that he's played with the Coyotes up until this point. And yesterday at practice, we had talked to Bear too. You know, what can the young guys show in these final 8 games? Is there something that, you know, you can take away from this final stretch from the youth? And here's what Bear had to say.
Well, yeah, for sure. You know, they will have a lot of challenge for them. They need to stay in the present. That's the first thing, because it's 82 game. It's easy to look ahead. It's you don't look. Oh, we have only 8 games left. No. We play tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Wednesday against Vancouver. That's the only thing. And if we were going in the playoffs, the same thing. You cannot start to look at the playoff. Playoff are in a lifetime. There's a lot of things can happen. It's the same thing for us. It's not about the season ends in 8 games. It's about we're playing Vancouver Canucks, and we need to have maturity. We need to be ready. It's a really good team, top of the league. We need to be on our A game. We have stuff we showed this morning. We need to be better at. We have other thing tomorrow. We'll have other thing on Wednesday, and we need to look to get better every day. That's our job. What's the future is ahead of us, that's not important. What's important is today. So when you're capable of doing that, you become a better pro and everything, and that's exactly what we're talking about in our team, which we have to do. We have talent. Talent won't make it. We need more than that. We need to have that maturity, that leadership, that game management, on and on and on, a lot of stuff. So we're in it. Perfect. Now it's good learning time for us.
I think it's interesting that he's mentioned maturity a few times, both in this answer and his previous one. And I think, if you really think about guys like Cooley, Doan, Guenther, those are young guys. Like that, I was in college that whole time, the 18 to 22. They're in the National Hockey League in their careers that they're hopefully going to have for a long time. And I like the perspective too. It's like they're out of the playoffs, but you can use this time to learn how to be a professional, learn how to mature and address certain things. And one thing that I personally have liked to see today and yesterday is that after practice yesterday, there was a handful of guys who stayed on the ice for a while after practice working on skills. And Guenther, Doan, and Cooley were among them.
Doan was there? I'm shocked. A Doan was on the ice late.
Yeah.
And then
never see that.
And then today was an optional practice, and Guenther and Doan were on the ice for that as well. So to me, that speaks volumes to actually the maturity of these young players, and that they're putting in the time, and it's not just, oh, well, here I am in the NHL. I made it. It's fine. I like seeing that extra hard work from them.
Yeah, and I think you saw that, and we're going to talk about more of the young guys. That's who's out there today. And the one thing about those young guys and the we're seeing in their development is they're having fun right now. Like they're bringing a level of excitement to the whole locker room, to the whole bench. And it's funny, we used to talk about that with Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller has 30 more points than Logan Cooley. Like, Clayton Keller's still the guy here. And I know we don't give him enough flowers right now because we are on Cooley, Guenther, Doan. I know that Clayton Keller's still the guy.
Yeah.
He's 25.
Yeah.
Like, he's still young too. And so there are so many great young players here, including Clayton Keller. But when we talk about this new young generation, since Josh Doan got here, there's a new spark. Yep, on this bench, in the locker room, there's a different feeling, there's more energy, and this team has played better. And I think that gives, when we talk about these last 8 games or the future, I think that excitement, that energy, that positive vibe, that laughing and smiling and fun at the rink, I think that starts with those young kids.
Yeah. If I could pick one thing I want to see from each of these guys, I want to see Dylan Guenther sustain this scoring pace. He's got 12 goals, 37 games. Keep it going. Keep it going. Prove to me that you can be a consistent goal scorer in this league. Because God knows this franchise has needed this.
Yes.
Since Keith Tkachuk left, really.
Yep. Yeah.
For Josh Doan, I don't know how long he's going to be here, but the way he's playing now, I can't imagine him going back before the playoffs in the AHL. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep playing the game that your dad told you to play when you showed up, and then do that much above it, which he's got 5 points in 3 games.
It's incredible.
I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see it coming at all. So impressed with how far he's come in 2 years. And then with Logan Cooley, it's kind of along the same line. I want to see him finish really strong, finish hot. I don't believe necessarily in momentum from one season to the next, but I want to see that the light bulb's gone on. And we got some pushback from some people who were like, yeah, I don't think Logan Cooley belonged in the AHL. I think he still would have gone through some growing pains. I've seen some of that out there. Fine, we can disagree on that. I think he could have benefited from the A, but I want to know by the end of this season that Logan Cooley absolutely belongs in the NHL and nowhere else. He's done it over a short stretch here. Just sustain it to the end. Show me that you are definitely an NHL player now.
Yeah, and he's been a better player since Guenther got here.
Yeah.
Like, Logan Cooley has matured. He's been a better player. I think he's limited his mistakes. I think the first 15 to 20 games for Logan Cooley was really finding out how to play at this pace. And I think there were more mistakes. I think there were more turnovers, more defensive mistakes. I think he was on his heels. Now he's on his toes. And you can really see the difference in an early Logan Cooley to a late in the season Logan Cooley. And that comes with confidence. I want to see Logan Cooley put defending as a priority. I know it is with Guenther. And when we talked about what Guenther's strength of his game is, a 200-foot game, I want to see Logan Cooley defend with passion as well. I want to see good sticks. I want to see on the right side of the puck. And it can't always be about offense because I think that's important to build those habits now.
And one more thing, I want him to make a push into the Rookie of the Year conversation. Sure. There is no world that I believe that Logan Cooley can make himself a winner at the end.
Logan Cooley's going to beat Bedard for the.
You meant Brock Faber, right?
That's what she said.
But right now he's in 4th in points among rookies with 39. He's tied for 4th in goals and he's in 5th for assists. So if he can, he had a hat trick the other day. If he can keep up a point pace, he can push into the top 3 in points for rookies. That's something I would like to see from him as well. So we'll move on to a couple of the other young guys we want to see things from on this team on the back end. Yeah. Sean Durzi, JJ Moser, and Michael Kesselring. They're kind of get lost in the shuffle of the 3 guys we just talked about because they're, the flashy young guys, but these guys are going to be important on the back end as well. So I know defense has been a little bit more of a struggle for this team. What do you guys want to see from Durzi, Moser, and Kesselring?
Consistency. I want to see consistency in all of their games. These are the 3 guys I'm certain are going to be back. When you start looking, we talked a lot about the blue line on Mailbag Monday about how they're going to have to rebuild this blue line. When you look at the guys that they're probably going to sign, I got to believe all 3 of these guys are back. You don't go making that trade for Sean Durzi and then dumping him a year later. JJ Moser, I know they believe in him. They like his place, whether he's a top pair guy. I'm not sure JJ Moser is a top pair guy. I think he's a second pair guy, but
still need them.
Yeah, you still need him, and I like a lot of parts of his game. And Michael Kesselring showed a lot of promise on both ends of the puck. I know Petey has some thoughts.
He was on the ice yesterday after practice and today as well.
Yeah.
Throw him
in the mix. Offensive abilities, and I like his range. I like his length. These are 3 interesting pieces for the future. So again, I'd like to see them establish consistency because Sean Durzi, I think you were saying it the other day, had the hot start, fell off. Can he come back? Can he finish strong in this season?
One of the things interesting for me with all 3 of those guys, they're all 3 young players and they all 3 have arbitration rights. Interesting to see how the summer goes for them. And I think there's something different I want to see out of each of them. I think for Moser, I talked about him a lot in the fall in the preseason. I saw him as a guy that can handle those top pair minutes against some of the best players in the league because of his speed. I'm not sure I saw that this season. And I want him to be better than that, than what we saw from him. I still think it's a guy that doesn't have the right reads through the neutral zone. I think it's a guy that's a little tentative in the defensive zone. He's maybe a step late there. He's got the speed that he has to, for this team, has to play against those players. He's got to play against McDavid. He's got to play against McKinnon because there isn't anybody else. Yeah. I want to see him take a step defensively. I want him to be, oh my God, we can't get around this guy. That's what I want. His skating is strong enough. He's got a good stick. He's got to get better so he can be that guy, at least for right now on this team. I agree with you, Craig. He's probably a 3-4 on a really good team. And if he's on your second pair defending, I think you're thrilled with a JJ Moser in your second pair. With Sean Durzi, we know his offense is there. He's a guy who's going to lead the power play. It's always going to be there. He's skilled. He's got good vision. He can deliver the puck to the net. He's another guy who's got to defend better. Yeah. He's got to defend better from the blue line. And I think he took a step forward this year from where he defended in LA because he had to, because he was forced into that top pair with Moser and he needed to defend better. I still think he's got to take that another step. And part of defending for him is getting rid of the puck quicker with better plays in the defensive zone.
Andre really wants to see that, making quicker decisions with the puck. And it goes for the power play as well, where I don't know if you watch a lot of him, but early on, he was doing a better job. He's not getting a lot of pucks through.
Yeah,
those are decisions that he wants to see him make faster and
because that's part of defending, right? If you make those plays out of the breakout, you're spending less time turning the puck over or being in the defensive zone. So I want to see that from Durzi. And with Kesselring, again, offensive upside. I've been surprised at his ability on the offensive side. I think jumps into the play well. He skates better than I gave him credit for. He's always the guy up driving the blue paint, which is great. Michael Kesselring at his size needs to be the guy that can clean up the front of the net. I believe he needs to get tougher, a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder, a little bit meaner, because the size is there. And I don't know if that's a young guy. He's still feeling his way through the league, and he needs that confidence. This team doesn't have that bite right now. I know they're coming. There's a lot of those guys coming in the pipeline. We think. We don't really know, but we think. for right now, for Kesselring, what I want to see a little bit more of a physical presence in the defensive zone. So that's what I want to see out of the young defenseman.
All right, well, we still have our three of 8 things to go. But first, Petey, you really started something by having everybody send you their almost empty gas tanks. And I sent a photo in Discord on Sunday. My gas light came on.
So disappointed in you, Leah. I don't know what it is I have to drive this message home. Like, before the light comes on, you got it. Like, how many Circle Ks do you pass between now and then?
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Between now and then.
You're like the devil and the angel on my shoulder.
Yeah,
I was down to 3 the other day.
That's just not acceptable.
Danielle.
I have gas from 1984 in my tank. I swear to God I do. Like, just don't.
So yeah,
Tank,
I pulled
max.
into Circle K with 20 miles to go, and I felt pretty good about that. But it's fine because I save 3 cents per gallon on all my Circle K gas because I am part of the inner circle, because when you sign up, you get 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents per gallon every time after that. It's so easy to sign up. You sign up on the app, which is a great app, by the way. You can always check it out for all the free stuff they want to give away, snacks, drinks, etc. And then you just pull up to the pump, enter your phone number, and boom, they apply the discount right away. So you can join the inner circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
And while you're at Circle K, make sure you pick up the Arizona Lottery's newest scratcher tickets, Arizona Adventure. And there's 3 ways to win. You scratch the tickets. That's the easiest way. Beautiful tickets with 3 iconic landscapes from the state of Arizona. That's 1. 2, check in at any of the geolocated adventure destination spots. There are 10 of them, from Yuma to Flagstaff to Tucson and everywhere in between. And 3rd, enter your tickets online for a chance to win $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes. The Arizona Lottery is not just about playing games and winning prizes. It is also about giving back to the state and its communities. Visit azadventure.com for more information on how you can take an adventure for a chance to win $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes.
All right, this next thing we would like to see is something that I'm sure the coaching staff is not discussing, but it's something we certainly are, and it is how the Coyotes will finish in the standings. And I think that we've given up on the Columbus Blue Jackets to try and see if they can win, although they have won 2 in a row.
Yeah,
They just beat Colorado.
It's a 5-point spread.
It is a 5-point spread. Currently, with 8 games to go, the Coyotes sit with a 5th worst record, 67 points. Montreal, 68. Ottawa, 70. Shout out Ottawa. They've been hot, won 5 straight.
Go
You
Sens.
can't-
Win those meaningless games.
Can
Go
you imagine
Sens
their
and go
management team right
Canadians.
now in Ottawa? Oh my God. Be irate.
Go Sens, go Canadians, and you know what? The Coyotes have a tough schedule to finish the season. So
They do, but I looked at strength of schedule on Tankathon,
Oh, no.
and you know who has harder schedules?
Montreal.
Ottawa and Montreal.
Oh no.
So be careful. Be careful here. Don't mess this up.
Yeah,
Oh, you got to finish in that.
I feel like you do have to be in the top 5 this year.
I do too. I like that. I like the 5 spot. The Montreal Canadiens are really the one. Ottawa going on that kind of a tear right now with a 3-point lead with a game in hand. Maybe I'm just disappointed they couldn't catch Columbus. I'm disappointed. Columbus,
Well,
big win though.
They routed Columbus, and that didn't help. And
Yeah, well, that was a big
and
game.
that Seattle rally late.
The Tuesday
They
night
take
game.
those 2 games away.
Yep. Then we're talking 4 points.
4 points, so it'd be a 1-point spread. At this
Yeah.
Well, no, because Columbus would
Columbus
have 2
would have
more.
been.
Be ahead.
Yeah. they'd be
Once
ahead.
once
Oh, well.
again, that 5th spot, you
It's all
can't pick any lower than 7th. So
Yep.
5th worst.
Let's
5th
do it.
Worst.
Yeah, and so
and
then
that's worse than last year. Isn't that crazy?
And then we have something to talk about. We're going to start really pushing draft prospects, draft picks. We're probably going to have to invite most of our Discord because they know the players' names better than we do because they're on top of it and they buy all the packages and watch all the games. And we don't.
Yes, but we will get the experts on our show.
We
Chris
will.
Peters, Corey Proman, Craig Button, the usual suspects, the ones who follow this along. And we will, by June 28th, we will know all the guys
Yes,
we need to
will.
know, unless their name is Dmitry Simashev and you knew nothing
will
about them
not know.
on draft day. But that is for last year. Okay.
Okay.
Another thing that we are keeping our eye on, obviously we saw Josh Doan get the call last week. Could there be another call-up coming this season?
I kind of hope so.
And who would
I
you
got
like
the
to see,
sense that
Craig?
Aku Ratu would be the other recall, but I don't know now. Like with the situation with the roster right now, if Josh Doan says I'm not leaving until the playoffs, well, what do you do at that point?
Well, the only other thing, too, is that there's still 8 games, so maybe there's an injury. But the other thing I keep thinking about, just Josh Doan here until the end.
Might be.
Yeah, and he just might be. So
I mean, if you're
we thought there might be a rotating door. I don't think
almost 2 points a game.
I don't think anybody expected Josh Doan to get 5 points in 3 games, and thus the revolving door from Tucson to Phoenix, I think, shut. I don't think they're rotating guys now. That doesn't mean a guy like Akuratu can't play.
Yeah.
Because there are other
I think
players.
they wanted to give him a look.
Because
so.
they still have 2 more call-ups because they were emergency
They do.
call-ups before, and Doan was the only one call-up, so they still have 2 call-ups. So he can come up, and maybe you do sit one of the other players. Liam O'Brien doesn't necessarily need to play all 8.
Yep.
That's
Sorry,
true.
Liam O'Brien.
The other half of this is I really want Tucson to get home ice. I really
That's
want
true.
that.
Yeah.
They got a big win against San Diego. Their schedule's not bad, but they're
It's-
playing really shorthanded. They're really going to have to battle here to keep home ice in the first round
and that
of
first
the
round
playoffs.
is 2 out
I
of
hope
3
they
on the
get it.
road, and that's
We
tough.
want to see that.
Akuratu with Josh Doan
I was
out
gonna-
of the lineup
I was going
currently.
to play the pronunciation, but I thought it would sound awful here. So
Oh,
I
that's
decided
fine.
not to.
Yeah, Akuratu with Josh Doan out of the Tucson lineup currently leads the team in points with 42 in 50 games played. Josh Doan has 46, so still leads, but with him out, Ratu leads the team. Well, what?
Look at Roaring Fork. Does that make any sense, or am I just not getting it? Aku's last name rhymes with his last name. Well, what does that mean?
Aku and Ratu, like
Aku's
they kind of
rhymes.
rhyme.
But his
But
last name rhymes with his last name. Does he mean his last name rhymes with his first name? Akuratu? Then he should have said
Maybe.
his last
Yeah,
name.
maybe. Okay, I might have
so
read
say
it
what
wrong.
you-
Please
say-
clarify your
Yeah,
comments.
say what you mean, not what you say.
Yeah. Well, little
Roaring
day,
Fork.
little day
Um,
drinking going on there.
Day drinking going on for Roaring Fork.
Roaring Fork of all people? No.
Yeah, probably not. Never mind.
Eamon Report says, can they get an arena done?
Typo. See?
First and last name. There you
Now
go.
he's mad.
Been there, buddy.
I know.
Can an arena deal get done this season? That has yet to see, but in these final 8 games in the next 2 weeks, we would love to see the land auction. Arena alert! We
Arena.
would love to see the land auction posted publicly before the season comes to an end. Oh my gosh, would we like to see it?
I don't even. I mean, like you hear things, like we heard things today, but
Believe it when you see
believe
it.
it when I see it. I
Yeah.
just want to see the auction posted. Let's get this over with. However, I refer back to Cat Coleman's graphic. This is government. This is government. This is not the Coyotes. Remember that. But who knows when they'll actually get it done.
But I think if it gets posted by the time the season ends, like that feels essential.
It is essential.
And there's 2 weeks left. Like when you wake up tomorrow on Wednesday, that's 2 weeks left of the Coyote season because their last game is on Wednesday, April 17th. 2 weeks. So we would love to see that. I think more than anything else that we talked about today, that is the thing that we want to see.
It's the biggest deal.
So there you go.
Once again, it's the biggest deal.
It is.
Still talking about the arena, Petey. Still talking about the
Yeah,
arena.
I got nothing to say.
Any,
They'll come.
any other things that we didn't mention that you want to see from these final 8 games?
I just want to see a team that competes till the buzzer
Yeah,
goes.
close,
That's it.
I
competitive.
want to see Lawson Krause go on a heater because
Yeah.
he's such a good dude. I'm writing a story on him.
Yeah.
Appear tomorrow on gophnx.com. But yeah, he had a slump that he just broke in that game against the Rangers
Yeah.
where he'd gone almost 20 games without a goal.
Yeah, love to see him and strong as well. So lots to look for, despite being out of the playoffs. I think there's a lot to be excited about, and these final 8 games should be some interesting matchups as well. So let us know in the chat if there's anything we didn't discuss that you would like to see in the final 8 games. But if you want to head to any of these games, there's only 3 home games remaining on the schedule. 2 this week, 1 on April 17th, and make sure you get into Mullet one more time before the season ends, and make sure you get your tickets over at Game Time. We've had tons of our diehards say they use Game Time. They used our code. They saved the money. And we've all used Game Time. You can use it not just for sporting events, but for concerts as well. And yes, there are Final Four and championship tickets available on Game Time. So make sure you check out the Game Time app. If you've never used Game Time before, you can save. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. We want to save you extra money on tickets. Well, Game Time already does that just by being the best ticketing app out there. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
And it's not just March Madness. It is also Gummy Madness season. Follow
True.
along as 8 competing dispensaries put Gummy versus Gummy against each other each week in a bracket to determine a champion. Vote for your favorite gummy, as the winner will receive a BOGO offer. Follow along and see who wins. And we were talking about before what OG's offers. Everything from the sativa to my favorite indica couch, because I like to relax at the end of the night. I've got a lot of anxiety issues. So try that. You've got the Happy Balance. You've got the Sleep Edition. Gummies has everything you need for your THC and CBD needs. To learn more about OG's Gummies and where you can find them, head over to ogsbrands.com. I was literally just there doing some research. If you want to know more about THC and CBD, make sure you go to ogsbrands.com. You must be 21 or older to enjoy responsibly.
Roaring Fork said, we want to see Cooley get 20 goals. I think that definitely fits into the want to see him enter the Calder conversation. He sits at 17 right now with 8 games. So can he get 3 and 8? I think he definitely could.
I'll get Michael Carcone to 20 as well.
Yes,
Yep,
Michael Carcone would love to see him get to 20, and Roaring Fork also mentioned would love to see Keller get to 40. I know it's a long shot. He is 32 right now, so if he scores a goal a game,
that's quite a heater.
He can get it. But yeah, it would be a heater, but he could do, a couple multi-goal games here and there. We'll see. Again, all things that we can just keep our eye on. Yeah, and Jotin mentions Carcone as well. So we'd love to see for the individual milestones you want to see.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited.
Anything else before we get out of here?
I think it's it. Is there a game tomorrow?
There is a game tomorrow.
Who are they playing?
The Vancouver Canucks. And tonight.
Tonight.
Is this true, Leah?
Yes, you should know. It's true. Wherever you get your podcasts, we have an audio-only episode dropping tonight with Vancouver Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet, former Coyotes coach, of course, Petey and Craig. Caught up with him on a variety of topics for a great conversation. So you can listen to that tonight and have 24 hours.
Scuba Steve, another great story that started with Shane Doan.
Yep.
Hear about Rick Tocchet and rookie Shane Doan and Scuba Steve.
Wow. Can't wait to listen.
That's a great story.
I'll be listening.
Teased it. We're not going to tell you what the story is. You got to listen.
And we have a Walkin' and Talkin' coming as soon as tomorrow.
Soon as tomorrow, potentially.
With
Matthias Machelli.
And yes, this was
This
addressed.
did come up. This, we asked him about, what do we call it again? I can never remember.
The pinched finger.
The pinched finger emoji.
And PD brought up the Finnish fettuccine.
I did bring up the Finnish
So
fettuccine. We did
you're
discuss
welcome.
his Italian heritage,
Discord.
the Finnish fettuccine, the closed finger, the pinched finger emoji.
Not
All the important topics.
Not the only walking and talking you did.
We don't. There's
there's
another one on deck.
It's done. It's in the bank.
It's done. It's in the bank. But you look for that. There's another one next week. We're gonna have back-to-back walking and talking week.
And there's a Bare Necessities
There's a
coming
Bare Necessities too.
Wow.
on everyone's
Petey's
favorite topic.
favorite topics.
I love this one. I can't wait.
Defensive zone coverage.
Yep.
Wow.
X's and O's.
And I heard it went long. I heard it was a long one.
Very long.
I didn't talk much.
Did you bring the whiteboard out and kind of? No. I can't wait to learn. I need to learn. I want to learn. I always like to learn.
Well, so much stuff coming. Make sure you subscribe to the
Watch along.
PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Yeah, we have a watch along this Sunday. So much extra stuff besides just our 5 live shows a week. So we want you to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel so you never miss when we go live and you never miss any of our extra content as well. And of course, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts as well. You can follow us on Twitter at @SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Abraca Danielle. And you can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody, and we will see you all tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.